I watched her leave. I stood at my window and saw her walk out the front door, cross the street, and vanish out of sight. But when I closed my bedroom door and turned around, she was still there, sitting on my bed. Section 1. Normalcy. It was early February when I moved into my first solo apartment, a small but decent one-bedroom on the third floor of an older brick building downtown. I'd lived with roommates all through college, so having my own space felt like a milestone. Rent was just at the limit of what I could afford, but the location was perfect. Coffee shop across the street, late-night convenience store around the corner, and the building had a charming old feel. High ceilings, hardwood floors, creaky elevator. The only downside? The walls were thin. I could hear the couple next door arguing, the upstairs neighbor vacuuming at weird hours, and the occasional slam of the hallway fire door. Still, my days became routine. Wake up at 7, work 9-5, stop for groceries, then home to make dinner and watch something mindless before bed. Simple, quiet. At least for the first 2 months. Section 2. First signs. One Thursday night, I was in bed scrolling on my phone when I heard soft tapping on the wall behind me. The headboard was against the wall we shared with the next apartment, so I figured maybe my neighbor was hanging something late. But the sound wasn't quite like a hammer. It was rhythmic. 3 taps, pause, 2 taps, like some primitive pattern. I banged back once, jokingly, then laughed at myself for even engaging. The tapping stopped immediately. 2 nights later, a different sound woke me, my bedroom door creaking open. I had locked it, which I always did at night. Half asleep but uneasy, I sat up and saw nothing but the empty doorway. I tried to laugh it off. Old building, drafts, squeaky doors. But that was when I started locking the door and pushing my desk chair against the knob before bedtime. Section 3. Meeting her. The following week, I ran into a woman in the hallway carrying groceries. She had an easy smile, short brunette hair, and wore a faded blue hoodie. She introduced herself as Claire, said she lived across the hall, moving in about a month ago, same as me. We chatted for a moment about the building's quirks. She mentioned how the elevator sometimes stopped just short of the floor, or how she'd hear footsteps in the stairwell when no one was there. We laughed it off as old building problems. A couple of nights later, I heard a knock. It was Claire, asking if I had any duct tape. She claimed a vent cover in her bathroom kept falling off. I found some and gave it to her, and she left thanking me. That was normal. She seemed friendly. Section 4. Escalation begins. One night in March, I was reading in bed when I heard light breathing just beyond my door. It wasn't the sound of someone out of shape. It was steady, slow, deliberate breathing, like someone trying to control theirs while staying hidden. I froze, every nerve alert. I slid off the bed, went to check the door, and found it locked with the chair still against it. When I pressed my ear against the wood, silence. Then something whispered my name from inside the room. I turned so fast my neck cracked. Nothing there, just my shadow stretching long in the lamplight, but my skin prickled with static. Section 5. The sight. It was a rainy Sunday when things shifted from unsettling to downright wrong. I'd just made coffee when I spotted Claire leaving the building from my third-floor window. I watched her in her blue hoodie cross the street and head into the coffee shop. I thought nothing of it. But when I went back into my bedroom, the air felt off, denser. My door was slightly ajar, even though I'd left it shut, and there she was, sitting perfectly still on the edge of my bed. Same hoodie, same jeans, hair dripping like she'd just stepped out of the rain. She didn't blink, didn't acknowledge me, just sat. I stammered something. Weren't you just... But the moment my voice broke the silence, she stood up. Not a normal stand either. It was too fluid, like a film reel in fast forward. She walked past me, her shoulder nearly brushing mine, and left the bedroom without turning her head once. The hallway outside was empty. Section 6. Trying to rationalize. That night I convinced myself I'd dreamed it. Maybe I'd napped without realizing. Maybe I saw someone else across the street earlier, and my brain made the connection. But that explanation didn't survive long. 2 days later, I heard her voice, friendly, casual, calling my name from the living room. "Hey, you home?" It sounded exactly like when she'd knocked on my door for duct tape, but when I walked into the living room, it was empty. My front door deadbolted, then my bedroom door shut, quietly. Section 7. The second encounter. The second time I saw her in my apartment, it was worse. I was watching TV late at night when movement in my peripheral vision drew my eyes to the hallway. Claire was standing there in the dark, head tilted slightly, lips moving soundlessly. Only, her eyes were darker than I remembered, too dark, and her smile was wider, stretching as if to test how far skin could go before tearing. I didn't say a word, didn't move. She took one step forward, and the lights flickered. When they came back, she was gone. Section 8. The real Claire. The next morning, I knocked on her actual apartment door. She opened it, looking exhausted, with deep circles under her eyes. When I joked nervously about the prank and her being in my place, her reaction wasn't even confusion. It was pure alarm. "I've never been inside your apartment," she said quickly, "and I'm leaving. I can't sleep here anymore." She mentioned seeing herself in the hallway 2 nights ago. She moved out the next day. Section 9. The last night. That same evening, I watched her carry boxes to her car and drive away. I stood at my window, watching her taillights vanish. Feeling uneasy but wanting to be sure, I locked my front door, locked my bedroom door, and sat in bed trying to read. Somewhere around midnight, I felt the mattress shift beside me, weight pressing down like someone had just sat on the edge. When I looked, she was there. Not wet, not smiling, just staring, eyes impossibly dark, head tilting slowly enough for the sound of her neck joints to carry in the quiet. My body wouldn't move. Breathing became an effort. She leaned in, whispering in my own voice, "I told her not to leave you alone." The next thing I remember was waking up on my couch with the sun coming in. My bedroom door was shut. Section 10 Aftermath. I changed the locks, bought cameras. I even had the building superintendent check for hidden access points. Nothing. But sometimes, late at night, the chair I keep against my bedroom door shifts. Once, I woke up to find fresh, damp footprints leading from my bed to the hallway. Claire's unit is still vacant. They've had 2 people sign leases and never move in. I keep telling myself I saw her leave. But that doesn't help when the weight on my bed dips again at night, and breathing that isn't mine fills the room. So if you think you're alone just because you watched someone walk away, you might want to check your room before you sleep.